Hey, what's up everybody? This is Nightwing2303 from KicksOnCourt.com. Today we have another performance review and is on the upcoming Air Jordan 28. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it. As everybody knows, I always have my doubts when it comes to translucent outsoles, but for the second time in about a year, less than a year, I've been completely surprised and blown away by a translucent outsole traction surface, which is what these guys have here, the Air Jordan 28 as well as the Air Penny 5. Those two have been just phenomenal. Not only for a translucent outsole, but just it's great traction in general. So I think that this is a fantastic use of traction. You can see the spiral effect. It's on heel and forefoot. You are not covered. You know what I'm saying? So no matter where you're going, what you're doing, how you're doing it, you always have traction underneath your foot. So you are pretty much stuck to this floor no matter what. The rubber itself is very pliable, but not too pliable. So this is not really soft rubber, you know what I mean? It's pliable just because of the way that they had cut out pieces. It's just like a comb. It's awesome. So no matter what you're doing, you have traction and you have tons of it. It's perfect. I have no complaints whatsoever. You can even use this outdoors because the rubber is not soft or anything. It's a very like durable feeling rubber, and you should be able to play in these no matter what the court condition is without any type of slippage whatsoever. The cushion is insane. It's really hard to explain. If you wanted to go to my site, kicksoncourt.com, there's a performance teaser that goes over just the flight plate and the cushion alone. But it feels unbelievable. You have a large volume zoom unit in the heel, which doesn't feel like crazy comfortable, especially compared to the forefoot, but it does its job, so I have no complaints here. But the real highlight of the shoe is that forefoot unit. As you can see, it's kind of segregated into these two sections, so it's kind of taking on no matter what that movement is, you know what I mean? And on top of that, it's raised a little bit. Hopefully you guys can be able to see this, but it's kind of raised a little bit, sort of like an IPS system, so every time you press down on it, compresses, really absorbs that energy and shock, and then being a zoom unit, it's super responsive, so it springs itself back into shape, giving you a small propelling feeling, especially with that flight plate in place as well, so because that springs back on top of the unit itself. In comparison to something like the LeBron 10, which has the best kind of spring or bounce to it, I feel like this is a little bit better, especially for guards, maybe somebody that needs to be a little bit more mobile on the floor. LeBron's shoes are made for him specifically, and that guy's built like a Greek god, so something like this is more for like the all-around player. And trust me, when you put this thing on, it's wicked. It's amazing cushion, and I thought that the whole like unlocking of the zoom was a bunch of, you know, whatever. I kind of rolled my eyes at it, but it does actually work. It's very interesting, and it does not feel like your typical zoom unit. So for those wondering if this is anything similar to the Mellow M8, or not M8, the M9, just because it's kind of a similar setup, it's nothing like it whatsoever. This feels 10 times better in my opinion, and it's a little bit more responsive as well. So because your foot directly rests on this zoom unit. The zoom unit is throughout the entire midsole here. They hollowed it out, so it touches the rubber and it touches the top of the flight plate, so your foot is pretty much resting directly on a zoom unit, whereas the Mellow M9 you have kind of like foam and Phylon and stuff in between your foot and the zoom itself. So this is a fantastic way to use Zoom Air. It is a new way to use it, and I think it's awesome. I absolutely loved it. As far as the materials are concerned, basically you have the interior section, which is pretty darn minimal. So you have all this like micro mesh type stuff along with a little bit of fuse, and then this woven material along with the mesh inner boot. Okay, and then you have this exterior shroud, which is pretty damn durable. Like, I was surprised. I thought that this and the zipper itself wouldn't be able to hold together. This zipper never popped open. If any of you guys ever remembered the Zoom Flight 98, the gloves, the Gary Payton shoes, those shoes used to pop open at the zipper. Answer 4, same thing. These guys, no problems, and this actually fits closer to your foot than any of those other shoes as well. So never had a problem with the zipper or the shroud. I think that the materials themselves are fantastic. It's lightweight. It doesn't require any break-in time whatsoever. Everything is just like a giant sock, which is strange because, you know, logically I wouldn't think that this would work on a basketball court, but it worked perfectly fine. The only thing that I'll say that was a drawback for me personally was just that I got stepped on quite a few times. I'm pretty small, so These larger guys, I'm pretty much directly underneath them, and if I'm not moving out of the way, I'm getting ran over. And I got ran over a few times, and right here there's a little bit of split between the outsole, and it happened on both shoes because I got stepped on multiple times, and it happened in the same exact spot, which is pretty much right here, right where it lips up. So I don't know if you see the design, but it lips up right here, and that, to me, I think that's just a material choice flaw, because the glue itself is very, very strong. That's still in place. It's this rand of fuse right here, which is the weakest part of the shoe. I think that if they just didn't use this whatsoever, everything would still be solid and on point, just like it is throughout the rest of the shoe. Because this, I can't pull it away from the midsole itself. So it's very strong glue, and it attaches itself to the shroud itself perfectly. I think that this stuff here just couldn't keep a hold of the shroud as well as it should have. So either removing this little rand altogether and just going with this shroud material, you know, full length, I think that would have been better, or if they would have just used a slightly stronger fuse. This is a little bit thicker. So I think that this would have held up a lot better. Personally, I don't think that this would have torn the way that the fuse did, because the material itself is fine. It's just the fuse here just couldn't hold up, and again, it just kind of like tore off a little bit. I could fix this easily. It's just a small section. It didn't happen again. It was just in these isolated spots where it peaks up right here. So just a small design flaw, but it's something that should be noted. If you are playing basketball and you see a guy with size 15 feet, stay away from that dude. As far as the fit, I think that the fit is awesome. I went down half a size. I went to an 8.5. If I went to a 9, it would still fit very well. It just wouldn't be as close to my foot as I like it. My toes are literally at the edges here. So if you want a little bit of space in your shoe, go with your regular size. If you want a snug glove-like fit, go half a size down. There's not much to this shoe here. As I said in the material section, it's pretty minimal. So for me personally, I wanted that glove-like fit. And as far as the overall lockdown goes, it's ridiculous. I'm surprised with everything on this shoe, just because it doesn't look like it would do much of anything. It's pretty plain and all that stuff, but it's so plain and simple. It gets everything straight to the point, which is pretty interesting in my opinion. There's no real frills to this thing, no gimmicks, none of that stuff. So inside, like I was saying, it's pretty minimal. And if you guys remember my first look video, all of these things right here are like fingers, so they just kind of harness your foot and keep everything in place in that footbed. The heel lockdown is perfect. It's incredible. There are heel notches back there, and then you also have the carbon fiber pieces as well. So there's that, and everything, like I said, draws your foot into the footbed, both into the heel and the midfoot section. This part here, there's no issues. That's why I like to go half a size down. I like that real, snug containment. So once you're in there and you're locked into place, you got everything tied up, it's perfect. You don't have to do much of anything. It's just, it is what it is. Once you zip up the shoe, you start to get different feelings of fit. When you zip up the shoe about halfway like this, it feels awesome. Everything's very snug and super contained. Your foot basically is not going anywhere. What I like to do is zip it up just a little bit higher than that, just about to here, and then I had it rolled down a little bit just because I don't wear super long socks, but I had it worn like this, and this for me was perfect. It kept everything contained and locked into place, and it was awesome. This shroud is just wicked. I love it. Originally, shrouds were made out of, usually it'd be made out of like leather and stuff, and this material is a little bit stretchy, but it doesn't have too much give to where it's going to make it roll over or anything. So I think that the fit is awesome. I think that all of the lockdown features are very, very minimal, but it works. So there's that. You got this one right here at the forefoot. And I think it's awesome. If you're wondering if having it zipped up all the way like this is going to give you any additional ankle support, it's not. It's not going to do anything. You can see here, it's just a sock. You know what I mean? It's not going to do anything. They could have honestly have just kind of like cut all of this stuff down right here to where it just met right there. It would have looked a little bit cleaner as well. But if it would have been more of a mid-top cut. I think it would have been perfectly fine as it was. The overall ventilation is pretty much lacking. That happens in most shoes that have this kind of setup with the shroud and the zipper and all that stuff. It's definitely more breathable than a leather, but it is not anything to write home about. It depends on how you have this thing zipped up. If you have it zipped down like this, then you're going to increase the amount of airflow. If you have it zipped up partially, you're going to start decreasing, and so on and so forth when you start zipping that thing up. So I didn't think that the ventilation was anything special. It's pretty much exactly what you'd expect in something like this, where you're completely enclosed inside of the shoe. It did not affect its performance in a negative way. It's just that this is going to be something to where if you personally need or want ventilation, this is probably not going to be the best option for you. As far as support goes, basically you have that flight plate. It goes full length. It's decoupled in certain sections, so this section here, this section, and then these two sections are separate. And then there's an additional plate that sets on top of that, and everything kind of like holds you into place. It reminds me a little bit of Adidas' Sprint frame, but I feel like this is a little bit better. It's a little bit more natural feeling and not as tight. So this I think is going to work better for more foot shapes. Adidas kind of like runs really narrow. So I loved how everything felt. It's decoupled, so you have full range of motion, which is natural range of motion, which is I think perfect. And you have plenty of support that you would need just to kind of aid your foot or ankle. If you have weak ankles, you might not want to wear this, or if you do wear this, wear something with a brace to kind of tighten everything up. That way your ligaments are not kind of like hanging out there all in the open. Because that's what people with weak ankles, it's your ligaments. Your ligaments are weak. That's your support feature within your foot. So your natural support feature. As far as the overall fit, that finishes off the job. Once you have this thing zipped up, you are drawn into that footbed here. You're not going anywhere. So it feels like you're wearing like a water boot, where it's kind of snug and secure, but your foot's not moving inside the shoe. So I think support was unbelievable. Again, for something that's like this, with this fabric upper, like you wouldn't think that this is very supportive, but because they have the plates in place, that's pretty much where you need your support. You need to be put into this shoe, right into this section. Everything else is just kind of for looks and additional performance or lockdown. Alright guys, so that takes care of the performance review on the Air Jordan 28. I personally really enjoyed this shoe. I thought that it had everything that I pretty much needed in the sneaker itself. It had wonderful traction, it had awesome cushion, plenty of support surprisingly, and you know, ventilation for me, it's not really a big deal, but if you do need ventilation, then this is not an option for you, because this is very restrictive up here as far as airflow is concerned. The one thing that I think that they should have changed is just this small layer of fuse right here. Either gotten rid of it completely or upgraded it to something a little bit thicker. In terms of, is the entire thing worth it? I know that it's expensive. It's at $250. I can't answer that for you. That's something that you would have to answer for yourself. If you can't afford it, then just live within your means. You know what I mean? Wait till they go on sale or whatever it might be. If you can't afford it, I think it's a great purchase as far as like its actual intent, which is performance. And then again, if you want this for casual use and things like that, that's entirely up to you. If $250 is your spending limit and you feel like these are worth it, then go for it. I personally know from first-hand experience on people actually seeing the shoe, liking it, then asking me what the price is going to be, and me saying, hey, it's $250 retail. They just kind of like were like, whoa. So I know that price point is going to be a shocker for a lot of people. So this is something where, just like the LeBron 9 Elite, I cannot tell you if something is worth it. That's entirely up to you. There's people that spend $300-400 on retros. So you know what I mean? So it just kind of, it's a personal thing. Like, you guys got to figure that out for yourself. If this shoe, it sounds like it offers you what you'd need, which is great traction, cushion, and support, then, you know, maybe it's worth it to you. That's your decision. So for me personally, I think that it's a wonderful performance model that has a very high price point that could distract some people. So that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for all your support. If you want to know more, a little bit more in-depth stuff on all of these things, you can go to my site, kicksoncourt.com. There's performance teasers, first impression, full written review, and on the full written review there is a scorecard. that score is, you know, it's going to rate all of this stuff out of 10, the traction, cushion, material, fit, etc. So if you want to know all that stuff, go to my site. So thank you guys again, and until next time, have a good one.
Getting high, boy, it's time to break it down. Grab a mic, kill the stage, yeah, second nature now. Mama said I'd make her proud, I told her I made a vow. Just to wait around, in the year I'll put her in a house on the shore or on a coast or an island. And every month I'd hop on a plane to fly, yeah, and take her shopping, whatever she wants to buy, yeah. She made me who I am, I got the heart of a lion, yeah. And for that, mama, I'm gratified. Grinding harder than everybody, so please don't act surprised when you see me pass your eyes quickly as I'm passing by. Grinding, boys, trap or die, holy, I'm a mastermind. I got a smile on every day, got a taste of the good life, and I'm here to stay. I'm used to questions, so everybody ask away. Hey, it's time to get high, homie, so pass the J. If I found a way to be happy every day, if you could just see my face, y'all would see